Welcome all. Today we are going to look into the sustainable management of natural resources. Now, before we get into the topic, let's know what management all about. Management is a set of principles relating to the functions of planning, organizing, directing, and controlling, and the applications of these principles in harnessing physical, financial, human, and informational resources efficiently and effectively to achieve organizational goals. Now, let's talk about what are natural resources. So, natural resources are the resources that exist without any actions of humankind. These includes all valued characteristics such as commercial and industrial use, aesthetic value, scientific interest, and cultural value. On Earth, it includes sunlight, atmosphere, water, land, along with all vegetations and animal life. Hence, let's look what is sustainable management. It is a type of management of natural resources which encourages the utilization of resources that meet current basic needs while preserving the resources for the needs of future generation. Advantages of sustainable management are it provides the resources for the present generation, preserve the resources for the future generation, and reuse is better than recycling because it does not involve the use of energy. Now, let's see what are the advantages associated with water harvesting at community level are. That is, it will help us to recharge groundwater, mitigates floods and droughts, brings rivers and wells back to life, and make more water. Next, let us look into the waste. That is, we do have two different types of waste that are biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. So, what are biodegradable waste or biodegradable substances? Waste produced through living ones and non-living ones are non-biodegradable. Examples, peels of fruits and vegetables, etc. Biodegradable waste includes any organic matter in waste which can be broken down into carbon dioxide, water, methane, or simple organic molecules by microorganisms and other living things by composting, aerobic digestion, anaerobic digestions, or similar processes. Non-biodegradable things include of plastics, polystyrene, plastic metals, aluminum cans, toxic chemicals, paint, tires, etc., which cannot be degraded or decomposed by any organic matter. How to do management of natural resources. So basic four steps we need to keep in mind for managing natural resources. First, we need to classify the natural resources. Second, we need to find the ways to save resources. We need to know how to manage our resources, and we should know the few natural resources that are renewable or which are non-renewable resources of energy. Let's see one by one how natural resources are classified. Next, classification of natural resources as renewable and non-renewable natural resource. Renewable, that means we can again rebuild them. Right, so those resources which can be replenished in a short period of time, like air, water, sunlight, forest, etc. These are known as renewable resources of energy or renewable natural resources. Non-renewable natural resources, that is, those resources which cannot be replenished in a short period of time, like minerals, which comes under coal, petroleum, natural gas, metals, etc., because they take millions of years to be formed. Hence, natural resources are classified as renewable and non-renewable. So, renewable resources will be your hydroelectricity, tidal wave electricity, solar energies. These all are your renewable natural resources. Why do we need to manage our resources? This is a very big question to ask. We need to manage our resources as due to the over increasing populations and rising demands of changing lifestyles, natural resources are being depleted at an alarming rate. We must ensure judicious use of our natural resources as it is not unlimited, and management of such requires long-term planning in order to last generations. Different ways to save resources. Now, to save resources, we need to remember 4 R's, that is, refuse, reduce, reuse, and then go for recycle. I repeat, we need to follow 4 R. First is refuse. Refuse the things that are not good for our environment. Refuse the usage of non biodegradable things. Reduce. Right, where we can't refuse the non-biodegradable items, then we need to reduce the use of the non-biodegradable items. Then reuse, try to use the non-biodegradable items and then go for the recycle. So if we follow these 4 R's, definitely our natural resources can be managed. We can help them to sustain. Hence, 5 important terminologies, that is, refuse, say no to things that are offered to an individual. For example, an individual say no to buy plastic products. Reduce, minimize the use of anything that can cause harm to our nature. For example, minimize the use of electrical appliances. Reuse, to use the things again and again, is defined as reuse. Recycle, when a particular thing cannot be used for a purpose, it can be used for another purpose. For examples, why we are giving or selling our things to those pastiwala, right? So that they can undergo the recycle. When the material can be used to make the needed things is also known as your recycle process. Few natural resources that we are talking about. Right, as you can see here, we have placed 3 things, that is forest and wildlife, water, coal and petroleum. It has been kept in the subsets form. So forest and wildlife, we have ample forest and wildlife. Right, in that few portion of water and in that little portion of coal and petroleum are existing. So we do need to take lot of care to preserve, to manage the usage of coal and petroleum. And that is the reason why we have to take care, and that is the reason why different kinds of vehicles are coming which can run on different types of fuels, say CNG, right, solar electricity, then Tesla electric cars, so that we can manage our sustainable resources like coal and petroleum. When we are talking about forest and wildlife, forests are termed as biodiversity hotspot. Biodiversity is defined as different types of organisms present on the earth. Loss of biodiversity may result in loss of ecological balance and damage to the ecosystem. Hence, we need to take care of our forest as well as wildlife. What are stakeholders? In a corporation, a stakeholder is a member of groups without whose support the organization would cease to exist. As defined in the first usage of the word in a 1963 internal memorandum at the Stanford Research Institute. The theory was later developed and championed by R. Edward Freeman in the 1980s. The common examples of stakeholders includes employees, customers, shareholders. Stockholders, equity stockholders are also known as shareholders equity, is an account of company's balance sheet that consists of a share capital plus suppliers, communities and government. A stakeholder may be defined as a party with an interest in an enterprise or project. So this is the way how we can define an stakeholder. In simple terms, we can say the primary stakeholders in a typical corporations are its investors, employees, customers, and suppliers. Now over here, who is a stakeholder? So stakeholder is a person having interest or concern for something is called a stakeholder. Stakeholders of forests are the local people which are dependent on forests for their survival. Forest department, the government who owns the land and controls resources, industrialists who use various forest products, and wildlife enthusiasts who want to conserve nature. People intervention in forest. Now, what do you understand by the meaning of intervention? And intervention is the act of inserting one thing between others, like a person trying to help. You could be the subject of a school intervention if your teachers call your parents about the bad grades you have been hiding. Hence, when we are talking about the people intervention in forest, that is human intervention is a necessity in the management of forest resources and landscapes. Resources must be utilized to ensure development while preserving the environment. Benefits must go to the local people to ensure the economic growth and conservation takes place simultaneously. Bishnoi community in Rajasthan for saving khejri trees in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. You might have seen this or already read this in your SST. The Chipko Andolan that has been took place in Gherwal in early 1970s. That was the result of a grassroots level effort to end the alienation of people from their forest. One of the most common method of forest conservation is silviculture. Now, what is silviculture? It is a method in which trees are grown as well as cultivation has taken place. So that is known as silviculture. Next, sustainable management when we are talking about, so management of resources wisely to make them available for the future generation. As earlier we have seen how we are going to harvest water by rainwater harvesting projects. So water is the basic necessity of all terrestrial forms of life. Irrigation methods like dams, tanks and canals have been used in various parts of India. So dams advantages is to generate electricity. ensure adequate water for irrigation that is sufficient to satisfy the need, continuous supply of water in regions, right? You might have visited the Sardar Sarovar Dam that we are having uh, in the river bank of Narmada, where we do have a largest statue of unity, right? And the disadvantages is improper distribution of water, large number of people displaced without compensation, and it can also causes deforestation and loss of biological diversity. So we do have an applications of dams and that are really useful for generation of electricity. Water harvesting. What is water harvesting? Harvesting means the collection of rainwater and its utilization for various purposes. The advantages, and you even can do at your home as well in a small scale. It does not evaporate the water stored in the ground. It's spread out to recharge wells, provides moisture for vegetations over a wide area, does not provide breeding grounds for mosquitoes. It is protected from contamination by human as well as animal waste. Ancient method of watershed management system. So we have different methods of watershed management systems which are known since ancient times, that is the khadins in Rajasthan, which consist of a long earthen embankment built across the lower hill slopes. Next we have talabs, which are the other mode of watershed management system known so far. It stores water for drinking and household consumption purposes. Others include schools in Himachal Pradesh, Ahar and Pines in Bihar, Eris in Tamil Nadu, Bundis in Madhya Pradesh, whereas Surangams in Kerala. So you can just Google it and see the pictures, how it is helpful, which are coming under the watershed management system. Now, this is how your Khadim works. Right, Khadim, basically we can talk about a method of harvesting water for agriculture in the Thar Desert. Khadim is a land use system developed centuries ago in the Jaisalmer district of western Rajasthan. It is practiced where rocky catchments and valleys plains occur in proximity. Next, rainwater harvesting watershed management, that is collecting rainwater and storing it to use during non-rainy season. The common methods of water harvesting are digging pits, ponds, lakes, etc., building small earthen dams or concrete check dams, then constructions of dikes, constructions of reservoir, constructions of rooftop collecting units in houses. Now, dike is a barrier used to regulate or hold back water from a river, lake, or even the ocean. In geology, a dike is a large slab of rock that cuts through another type of rock. Next comes coal and petroleum, which are the non-renewable resources. So coal and petroleum are non-renewable natural resources. Coal was formed from the remains of trees buried deep inside the earth some 500 million years ago. Petroleum is formed by the bacterial decomposition of dead marine plants and animals at the bottom of the seas. Coal and petroleum are also called fossil fuels, that it is obtained by the decomposed energy resources. At present rate of usage, Petroleum will last us for about 40 years, and the coal will last for another 200 years. And harmful effects of using fossil fuels, that is, it creates lots of pollution, say air pollution, and which again, due to this pollution, harmful gases, our climate change also takes place, which is hampering day by day. Hence, this is what about for sustainable management of natural resources. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Stay tuned.